This is my third stay at Westmont. The first time I got committed, I stayed for 3 days. The second time, 7 days. And today marks 3 weeks. While waiting to get discharged, I visited my favorite spot on the 3rd floor. There's a wall-to-wall window that overlooks the entire empty field. It's where I go to be alone with my thoughts, and where all the blackbirds gather. They fly in circles for hours, and I watch them for hours too. Sometimes I wish I could morph into a blackbird and fly among the flock, to feel the wind between my wings, to see life from above, all the wickedness that lies beneath, to fly away and leave it all behind, focusing on the life ahead. But here I remain, forced to face the reality of my life. I wasn't surprised when my mother's Volkswagen pulled up to the facility 2 hours late. I said goodbye to the nurses that I liked, ignored the ones that ignored me, and out the doors I went. I got into the car and my mother was dressed up. I mean, she still looked trashy, with a cigarette burning in her hand, the tackiest red lipstick, and a few rollers in her hair. "You look skinny," I said, over the music that played on low volume. She took my compliment as a slight. Everyone in town knows that she abuses weight loss pills. "I feel skinny too. I lost 10 pounds since the day you were committed." She blew a stream of smoke from her nose. "Are you better?" I knew she didn't really care, so I didn't bother to answer. Instead, I noticed she was driving in the opposite direction of our house. "Where are we going?" "To the market to pick up a few things. I'm making dinner tonight." While she shopped, I flipped through a couple of tabloids in the magazine aisle. When it was time to pay, we were $3 short. The cashier was some young, lustful idiot who couldn't take his eyes off my mother's rack. Of course, she took advantage. She leaned closer and smiled. "I guess I'm gonna have to put something back." He drug his eyes from her chest and finally met her eyes. "It's not a big deal. Really, what's $3? "Thanks, handsome." She blew him a kiss and I was embarrassed. When we returned home, my mother went to the kitchen and began making dinner. Pasta, to be exact. I could smell the garlic all the way up in my bedroom. My bedroom was exactly how I left it. Messy. I was collecting laundry when I saw Hank, my mother's boyfriend, getting out of a taxi. I walked to the window and got a better look because I couldn't believe it was him. The last time I saw Hank, he was on top of my mother, hitting her in the face, and she was screaming for me not to call the police on him. I rushed downstairs and into the kitchen. "Mom, why is Hank outside? He just got out of a taxi." She ignored me and lit up like a Christmas tree. "He's early." She began pulling the rollers from her hair. I followed her to her bedroom where she checked herself in the mirror. "Please tell me that you two aren't back together." "Sweetie, Hank apologized weeks ago." "Mom, he always apologizes." I followed her out of the bedroom and to the front door. She faced me before she opened it. "Look, Hailey, I want you to be nice to Hank." She shushed me before I could respond and opened the door. Hank was dressed in his usual leather jacket and dark jeans. His dark, thin, jaw-length hair almost concealed how rough he looked. I could tell he was still abusing drugs. He hugged my mom, grabbing her butt inappropriately while they tongue-kissed. My mother finally pulled away, tugging at her skin-tight dress. Hank tossed a careless glance my way. He was beyond the point of pretending that he even liked me. I ignored him. "Mom, a word, please." She excused herself and we went into the kitchen. "Is Hank staying here?" "Yes, Hank is my boyfriend and soon to be my fiancé, which means he will be your stepfather. He's been stringing you along, promising to make you his wife for 2 years now." "Sweetie, relationships are complicated. Life is not a fairy tale. Sometimes it gets rough, but you have to learn to forgive and move on. You'll understand this when you're older." Hank called out. "Lauren, baby, let's go. We're going to Edmund's for dinner and drinks. I don't want to miss the game." She kissed me on the cheek. "Dinner is done. I'll be back later tonight." I stood in the kitchen and listened until their footsteps went out the door. Once the door was closed, it was complete silence and I was alone. I didn't want to be alone, but it was nothing I wasn't used to. I faced the stove and the pot of pasta was steaming. I actually thought she was making dinner for me. I wasn't hungry, but still I made myself eat. I was eating on the couch when I heard a knock on the door. I opened it and it was my dad. He had balloons and a small cupcake. I was glad to see him and thought no one cared. He hugged me. "I'm happy that you are home. I had planned on visiting more, but Amy is pregnant and having a hard time." "It's okay, Dad. I'm just glad to see you." "Where is your mom?" I didn't want him to know that I was home alone. Last time he and Mom argued on the front lawn about it. I didn't want to cause another argument, so I lied. "She's asleep." I would come in, but I'm on my way to work. I picked up the night shift for extra cash. "Is the baby still due next month?" I asked. He corrected me. "You mean your little sister, and yes." "Sorry," I apologized. "Maybe you can help Amy plan the baby shower." "Maybe," I said. "You know, Amy actually helped me pick the balloons out for you. She's been worried also." I knew Amy wasn't fond of me, but still I gave her credit. I took the cupcake and balloons. We hugged again. He promised to make more time to see me before he left. I watched him drive away.
For monthly episodes, check out the link to my Patreon page. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.